The runways of New York City are no stranger to the biggest names in fashion, but next month it'll be African designers and models that will fill the catwalks during New York's African Fashion Week. And joining me today are women who have a whole lot more than just fashion on their mind. They also hope that their work inspires social change. Adiat Disu is the founder of African Fashion Week, launching it in fashion capitals around the world, including New York City, Paris, and Berlin. And Michaela Brown is a Jamaican-born designer whose African-inspired prints are essential to her Aaliyah Kim clothing line. Thank you both ladies for joining me today. Michaela, I'm assuming that you're wearing one of your very own.
I am. I have child soldiers on my shirt right here.
And I want to get to that in just a moment, but I want to start with you, Adiat Disu, whose name I just absolutely love saying. What sparked your interest in having an African Fashion Week?
Well, I always say this. When in 2010, I was at Mercedes-Benz, and when I saw a rise they had a collective during the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, and I saw how big, how beautiful we were, but I said, we are too big, we are too beautiful to just be restricted within that amount of time. So I said, New York needs to get more time with us, more time to explore the beauty that comes from Africa.
What is separating the African designers or the African-inspired designs from being more mainstream?
I believe what separates us is our way of doing business. The fact is, at the end of the day, these designers create economic opportunities for people from their country. And I think that's the beautiful part of fashion, really, is not being as superficial, just leaving everything to the runway, the glitz and glamour of things, but more so who it benefits at the end of the day as well.
And I understand that your company has been instrumental with regards, in regards to really bringing attention to a lot of different companies in Africa in terms of what they're doing and their contributions to the fashion industry.
Yes, companies like Picolinos, who's a Spain-based company that works with the Maasai community. They export some of their leather goods to the Maasai community and do beautiful beadwork with sandals. And then other companies like Basila Bokoko, African Literacy Project, that establishes libraries all over the continent of Africa, which I find extremely amazing. See, I think a lot of us talk about what it takes to raise children, but nobody really talks about what it takes to elevate the minds of children and our future leaders. So I believe our fashion platform has definitely touched many lives and different perspectives of life.
And Michaela, you are a former anthropologist, PhD in anthropology and education turned fashion designer.
Absolutely.
How did you make that turn?
It actually is a very nice fit in the same way that African Fashion Week blends an aesthetic with an awareness. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. For many years, I worked in the nonprofit sector. I dealt with communities, addressed their needs. I think that fashion is the voice of women. And so in many ways, the best way to speak to women about the needs of community is through a medium that they understand and relate to, and fashion is a perfect platform.
Your fashion, I believe, takes it even a step further. I mean, besides the fact that I understand a portion of your proceeds actually goes to a charitable organization in Sudan, and we'll talk about that in a moment, you're actually not only using African-inspired prints, but you're using some of the war imagery of Africa in your fashion.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about that in terms of what are those specific images that you're using, and also why.
Absolutely. So in many of my prints, I have child soldiers, I have brass knuckles, I have guns, and people would say, why would you use such acerbic imagery? I think that we should be really uncomfortable with the fact that child soldiers exist at all. It's not about the article of clothing, but it's something that can easily be forgotten. Right now, there's child soldiers in Mali, there's child soldiers in Syria. We can forget that in America. So if I make this something that's part of your awareness on a daily basis, but in a comfortable way, in a way that fashion makes you aware of things, but also it's a way of making a statement, then I feel like we can address those issues if we're aware. But if we ignore it and aren't aware, then there will be no change forward.
Also joining the conversation is Basila Bokoko. She joins us via Skype live from Rwanda. She is a global ambassador for Picolinos Footwear. Hello to you, Basila. Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
All right. Thank you again for joining the conversation. Tell me a little bit about why Piccolinis, excuse me, I got to get the pronunciation correct. Piccolinos, all right? I don't want to butcher the name of your designer footwear. Why did it turn to Africa in terms of incorporating the people of Africa in its design and manufacturing?
I think because the owner of Piccolinos was always linked to Africa, and he always wanted to have a social responsibility. It happened that he met someone from the Maasai community, and they just clicked, and they decided to help through an organization that is called Adiat in Spain. And that's how, you know, we fell in love with the Maasai community, and we decided to help the women in the Maasai community also because it's one of the more endangered tribes in the world. So that's one of the main reasons why we decided to go to Kenya and help the Maasai.
What is the impact that has been made on the community itself? What are they able to do now that they have this work that perhaps they weren't able to do for their community before?
Well, it has changed a lot the dynamics of the population because they were living in a system that they trade with cows for agriculture, and now with the money they have more power of purchasing power. So this has helped them to take the kids to school, to improve their nutrition, and to have access to medical attention. So I think also it has helped to the dynamics of the relationship between husband and wife, because the women feels more self-sufficient, and when they have deadlines to finish the shoes, the men help in the chores of the house, take the kids to school. So I think it has been very beneficial for the whole community.
And Adiat, I understand that one of your ambitions is to actually elevate the way that African fashion is branded so that it's associated with luxury lines.
Absolutely. That is a passion of mine. One of the things that I love to do as an entrepreneur is Google. I mean, who doesn't say that? But one of the things that I realized immediately when Googling Africa luxury is immediately I saw the results, and the results led to safaris and diamonds. So I said, there is an open space for us to educate people on what luxury from Africa is and could be. So when you say the word luxury in terms of fashion, many people immediately think of Italy. But why can't they think of Angola? Why can't they think of Uganda or Sudan, for that matter? And that is our effort in really pursuing this idea of what luxury Africa is and will ever transform to be.
Wow, this is amazing. Can I add something? I also think Africa is a continent full of a story, it's telling a very vivid and a powerful story. And so fashion representing Africa, African fashion, has to tell a story. It has to have a message. It cannot be simply about an aesthetic. It has to have a meaning because the continent has so much meaning and it has so much to tell, and it's the source of so many awarenesses that we have.
And as you gear up for Africa Fashion Week next month, what do we expect to see?
Well, what's so funny is this year we've, in our pursuit of establishing what the idea of luxury Africa fashion, African fashion is our theme this year is the pattern of sustainable luxury. So really now giving the term luxury Africa fashion another layer of definition. So what luxury African fashion is sustainable immediately, and that is a hot factor. Knowing that you're purchasing something that has established a community, that has allowed someone to go to school, that has allowed a mother to now, a mom from Africa to have a business and own that is hot.
I think it's hot that both of you have provided platforms for both, you know, not only just designers to showcase their work, but also, you know, raising awareness on the causes and issues on the continent. So I think I read somewhere about Bare Threads? Yeah. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. It's a nonprofit that I'm also developing, and I think that fashion, it's geared toward children, particularly high school age children, and the idea behind the nonprofit is children would identify an issue in their neighborhood that they would like to see rehabilitated. It could be graffiti, it could be crime, it could be littering, and then they could make an article of clothing that raises awareness of that issue, sell that clothing, and the money go back to the rehabilitation of the issue. So using fashion as a voice. Fashion, 100% how women dress, it communicates who you are to people who do not know you, but the way that it's become such a global business and industry, it's a great way for people to raise awareness and to talk to communities and let people know how they feel about things.
Well, ladies, thank you all for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
Basila Bokoko joining us live via Skype from Rwanda. Thank you so much for your insight, your input, and what you are doing for and with the Maasai people there in Africa. Thank you, Michaela Brown and Adiat Disu. And hopefully, ladies, you all come back with some pieces on the next visit, okay?
Thank you for bringing that up.
Your closet would be filled.
Right, exactly.
We'll get you
I'm so glad that was caught on camera.
All right, thank you, ladies. I'm Christina Brown, and you are watching Our Take.
I love it.